am a regional manager for Africa, Middle East and Europe at the University of Waikato. I'm actually based in the UK, so it's not the middle of the night for me in New Zealand. But I lived in New Zealand for about 2 years, and I returned to the UK last year. And so I'm here today to tell you a little bit about studying in New Zealand and studying at the University of Waikato. I'm going to give you a bit of information about what it's like to live in New Zealand as a student. I'm going to tell you a little bit about study options in New Zealand, about student life and why you might want to choose New Zealand as a study destination. So before we do that though, hopefully you can all see my screen. And I'm going to give you a short quiz. So obviously there are no prizes for this quiz because I can't give anything to you from here. Just of course, eternal glory if you do win, and be safe in the knowledge that you are an expert on New Zealand. But there are 5 questions, five quite simple questions. So I'm going to start from here. Number 1. What is the capital city of New Zealand? So what I'll do is I'll give you the questions and then maybe just make a note of what you think the answers are, and then we'll go through the answers in a second. Okay, number 2. What is the most popular sport in New Zealand, and what is the name of the national team? Number 3, what nickname are New Zealanders often called, and they are named after a native bird? Number 4, which famous movie trilogy was filmed in New Zealand? There are actually 2 answers to this. And number 5, what name is given to the original inhabitants of New Zealand? So hopefully you've all got your answers ready. So we'll go through now. What I might do actually is, if you do know the answers, you can type them in the chat box just to see if people have got any knowledge of New Zealand and see how many you've got right. So if anyone knows what the capital city of New Zealand is, please feel free to type it in the chat box. If not, I'll give you the answer. Correct, Lucy Smith Wellington is correct. Yes, that's right. Then number 2, what is the most popular sport in New Zealand, and what is the name of the national national team? Sorry, I'll give you the answer there. Rugby is correct, and All Blacks, very good. Yes, and I think the person who got the exact answer right again is Lucy. Quite an expert there. Okay, number 3. And what nickname are New Zealanders often called, named after a native bird? And I think the first person was Salil, and Kiwi is correct. Yes, sounds like you all know quite a bit about New Zealand. And next, what famous movie trilogy was filmed in New Zealand? Anybody? Oh, Lucy is a Kiwi, so she should know all about New Zealand. Anybody? Famous movie trilogy? Doesn't look like anyone knows this one. I'm going to give you the answer. The answer is Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, then you might have seen lots of scenes of New Zealand during the films. And then finally, what name was given to the original inhabitants of New Zealand? Anybody? Oh, yeah, sorry, I'm scrolling down now. I can see some of the answers. So yes, Maui is the right answer. So yeah, just going back, I can see a couple of people said Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Aboriginals are actually the native inhabitants of Australia, but Maori are the native inhabitants of New Zealand. Okay, excellent. Well done, guys. Sounds like you all know a little bit about New Zealand, so that's a good start before we even get going with the presentation. So I'm going now to move on and tell you, as I say, a little bit about New Zealand and about studying in the country of New Zealand. So you can see here there's a map of New Zealand itself. You have the North Island and the South Island here. You've got obviously the biggest city in New Zealand, Auckland, in the very north. And the University of Waikato is actually in Hamilton. We have a smaller campus in Tauranga, both on the North Island, close to Auckland. New Zealand is a really great study destination if you like the outdoors. So if you like hiking, if you like outdoor activities, sports, if you like nature, all of those types of things, New Zealand is a great place to be. It's a very safe country. It's a very friendly and easygoing country, but it's quite different to places like, you know, big cities in the UK like London, Sydney, Melbourne, you know, the States and so on. The pace of life is a bit more laid back and relaxed. So if you really like the big cities and 24-hour party lifestyle and, you know, people everywhere, maybe New Zealand is not for you. But if you like that more relaxed way of life in nature and outdoors in a safe place, a really beautiful place, then New Zealand is a great place to study. Okay, so then moving on to welcome to New Zealand. So as I've been saying, New Zealand is a very relaxed and safe and welcoming country. And there are 8 universities in New Zealand. That means that there are universities spread across the country, but not so many, not as many as other countries. The quality of education, though, is excellent. All of the universities in New Zealand are in the top 500 in the rankings, the world rankings. And the quality of life in New Zealand is very high. As I say, there's a strong focus on a good quality of life. You know, the healthcare is excellent. As I say, lots of great places to go and things to do. A real love of the outdoors and really excellent quality of life. It's the second most peaceful country in the world, and I'll come back to safety maybe in a little bit. But New Zealand, as I say, is a very safe country to live in. Outdoor lifestyle, stunning landscapes, a very multicultural society. So we have people from all over the world living in New Zealand. The population is quite small. It's only about 4.5 million people, which again means the quality of life is high. But a lot of those people come from different countries, quite a lot from Europe, from Asia, from across many different places. And then importantly for international students, the New Zealand government offers a 3-year post-study work visa for graduates. So if you study a bachelor's degree in New Zealand and you complete that degree, then you will be eligible for a 3-year post-study work visa. That means you can stay in New Zealand for 3 years after you've graduated, and you can work in any job. And then, of course, you can look to stay there for longer and gain residency if you have a job. Of course, if you're already a Kiwi, like a couple of people in the presentation, that's not something to worry about. But if you don't hold a New Zealand passport and you're not a permanent resident, then you may want to think about the 3-year post-study work option. Okay. So moving to the next slide. I just wanted to show you a few pictures of New Zealand. and give you an idea of the natural beauty and the all of the places that you can see and things you can do. So these pictures are from the Waikato region. The first one here is Bridal Falls. So this is a beautiful waterfall, very typical of the outdoors and nature that you'll see if you come to New Zealand. I've mentioned the hiking opportunities, the outdoor lifestyle, and the reason is because it's such a beautiful country. You can see an example here. I've also mentioned Lord of the Rings and Hobbiton. So you can see this is a hobbit hole, and looking out over the Shire, if you've seen the films. And this is about 40 minutes away from Hamilton, where the University of Waikato is located. This is the Hobbiton Movie Set. So you can walk around, you can see where the movies were filmed, and sort of get that Lord of the Rings experience. Then we have Raglan. We have Raglan Beach. If you are into surfing, then this is a fantastic place to be. It's a world famous surfing destination, just around half an hour from Hamilton. So yes, I mean, you can go and take up surfing if you've never tried it before. But if you like the beach, as I say, beautiful, clean, sandy beach, just around half an hour away from Hamilton City. This is Rotorua, and this is the hot springs and geothermal activity. So again, very sort of close to nature. This is about an hour from Hamilton. Really beautiful spot. You can see the geysers, and you can see the hot thermal springs coming up out of the ground. So again, a beautiful place. And then finally in the North Island, this is the national park. So this is the ski fields. It's about 3 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours away from Hamilton, in the middle of the North Island. But you can see in the winter, it's very, very popular, great skiing and snowboarding. So again, if it's something you've never tried, you can take up skiing, snowboarding. And if it's something you're into, and it's very easy to get to, and easy to keep up that hobby. I can see a few questions. What I'm going to do is take the questions at the end, if that's okay. So there'll be a Q&A session at the end, and then I'll hopefully be able to answer the questions rather than sort of going through and answering them during the presentation. And then just I wanted to show you a couple of pictures of the South Island. The South Island is absolutely stunning. If you do go to New Zealand on holiday or to study, then you must go to the South Island. You can see the beautiful mountain landscapes here. You can see the beautiful hiking routes and the lakes and the sort of plants and greenery and so on. Absolutely beautiful place. People say that New Zealand's one of the most beautiful countries in the world, and I think you can get the idea why they say that from these pictures. Okay, so just coming back to employability and work, New Zealand is a land of opportunities. Now, if you are looking to study at university overseas, then you've probably thought about what you're going to do after you've graduated. You may have looked at work opportunities and employment opportunities after graduation. So the New Zealand economy is strong, and it's expected to remain strong over the next few years. Obviously, there have been problems with COVID-19 with the world economy, but I'll come to that later, and New Zealand is certainly dealing with those problems very well. And you may have seen in the news recently that the infection rate in New Zealand is now 0. And so again, it's a place that's dealing with COVID-19, maybe one of the best in the world, in fact. So the New Zealand government publishes a long-term skill shortage list, and this is a list of all of the areas of employment where there are gaps and where there may be opportunities. So things like engineering, computing, health, those kind of areas. But it's on the New Zealand government website. If you ever wanted to go and have a look, you can search for it as a Google search. And as I mentioned, there are post-study work visas. So for you, if you complete a bachelor's degree, then you'll get a 3-year post-study work visa. 50% of the population of New Zealand, and 50% of all of the jobs in New Zealand are all around the north of the North Island. So Auckland is the biggest city, and then you have Hamilton just south of Auckland, and you have Tauranga. And as I say, the University of Waikato campuses are in Hamilton and Tauranga. But those three cities make up the Golden Triangle of New Zealand, where 50% of the population lives and where 50% of the jobs are. So lots of opportunities there. Okay, so now I just want to talk a little bit about Hamilton. This is where the main University of Waikato campus is. The population is around 165,000 people, the fourth most populous city in New Zealand, and it's the third fastest growing urban area. So it's a growing economy and a growing city. It's a friendly student city. We have the University of Waikato. We also have a smaller polytechnic in the city, so lots of students, great student life. The climate is mild, so it's not too hot in the summer and not too cold in the winter. Obviously, I know you're probably used to 45 degrees in Dubai, but in New Zealand, the summers are warm, 22 to 26 degrees in Hamilton, and then the winters are cool. So again, in Hamilton, around 10 to 15 degrees, but it doesn't snow in Hamilton. In the South Island, it does snow, but in the North Island, it doesn't, apart from on the ski fields, which are much higher up. Close to Auckland, about 90 minutes away, close to the beaches as well. And it's a very green city, so 145 parks and gardens and 63 sports areas, lots of places to go in the outdoors. Now you can see our campus here. This is our University of Waikato Hamilton campus, the largest campus in New Zealand by area. Again, you can see very green and very beautiful, a great place to study. We also have a campus in Tauranga, and Tauranga is about an hour and 20 minutes from Hamilton. It's on the coast, so there are beaches. It's a very relaxed place, a great place to live, the fifth largest city in New Zealand. And our new campus there opened last year in 2019. So it's home to New Zealand's largest export port, so lots of job opportunities there. And it has the fastest growing population of any New Zealand city. So it's a fast growing city full of opportunities. And you can see our Tonga campus here, and you can get the idea. Obviously, it's brand new, excellent facilities, state-of-the-art facilities, just opened last year. And then this is the inside of the Tonga campus that you can see on this slide here. And as I say, it's a great place to study. Now, just some information about the University of Waikato here. So if you are interested in studying in New Zealand, then the University of Waikato is a great place to study. It's ranked 266 in the world in the most recent world rankings, and it's gone up by 135 places in the last 6 years. So it's really increased in terms of its ranking recently. We also have a Triple Crown accredited management school. And so our management school is ranked as one of the top 1% worldwide. We have accreditation from the 3 most important business bodies worldwide, and only around 90 universities have that accreditation. So it's a great place to study management business programs. I've talked a bit about Hamilton already. And in terms of cost, study in New Zealand generally is cheaper than study in other countries. Certainly cheaper than the States, generally cheaper than the UK, and Canada and Australia as well. Maybe comparable to Canada, but slightly cheaper. And living costs in Hamilton, because it's a smaller city, are cheaper than other cities like Auckland, Sydney, Melbourne. So that's also something to consider when you're looking at the cost of living as well as the cost of tuition. The University of Waikato puts a very strong focus on internships and placements. So you can see a list here of our internships and placements that we offer. So internships are really important if you are thinking about getting a job after graduation, to show the employer, potential employer, that you have work experience, that you can succeed in a working environment. So we strongly recommend that you do take an internship as part of your course if you can. So you can see a list here: Bachelor of Business, Management, Engineering, Science, and then Bachelor of Arts and Social Sciences all offer some kind of internship. Some of them are paid and some of them are not paid, and most of them are guaranteed, but sometimes you may have to find your own internship. So you can see our faculties and schools of study listed here. We have a range of different areas of study. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples of the bachelor's degrees that we offer, just to give you an idea of what it might be like to study a bachelor's degree with us in New Zealand. So the first one here is the Bachelor of Business. So this is a 3-year bachelor's degree, and it has 3 intakes. So it has February, July, and November. The cost is just under 30,000 New Zealand dollars per year. Now, one New Zealand dollar is about 0.65 US dollars. So if you want the figure in US dollars, you might say that our bachelor's degrees are around 20,000 US dollars per year in tuition fees. I've mentioned that it's Triple Crown accredited, so within the top 1% worldwide. I've talked about the internships that we offer. So this course does offer a 3rd year, 1 semester internship, which is 1 day per week, and that's guaranteed. And if you study the accounting major, you can see the box at the bottom of the page with all of the majors listed. If you study the accounting major, then you would get exemptions for 9 of the 14 ACCA exams. So if you wanted ACCA Chartered Accountancy accreditation, then you would be able to skip 9 of the 14 exams you'd normally need to take after you graduate. If you want the Bachelor of Management Studies, this is a 4-year degree with honours, then we also have that, but that's normally for people who are sure that they want to go on to master's level study when they finish their bachelor's degree. And it's something you can think about later on, maybe in your 3rd year of your bachelor's degree. And as I say, a range of different majors. You would pick the major that you're interested in, and that would be your main area of study. Just to give you a quick idea of entry requirements, and entry requirements are roughly the same across all of our bachelor's degrees. If you are studying IB, then you would need 24 points. And if you are studying A-levels, then you need 3 A-levels, normally around C grade or higher, of course. This is our Bachelor of Engineering. This one has intakes in February and July, and this one is a 4-year course. It's an accredited course, which means you'd be able to register as a chartered engineer once you have graduated, and for that reason it needs to be 4 years. The cost is a little bit higher, so around 37,000 New Zealand dollars per year. This course includes 800 hours of work experience internships, which are normally paid, and we would place you in a company around Hamilton to get that work experience. And once you've graduated, you'll be able to work as an engineer, as a recognised engineer in 19 countries across the world. And you can see the list of different majors or streams at the bottom of the page. This is the Bachelor of Arts, so this is a 3-year degree. This one has a huge range of different majors you can pick. It has intakes in February and July. The tuition fees are slightly lower, but it depends on the major that you study. And again, work experience, work placement opportunities are available for students. And finally, the last one I wanted to show you was the Bachelor of Science. So this again is a 3-year degree. You have a choice of a wide range of different majors. Costs are quite similar. Intakes are the same, February and July. If you did again want the internship with work experience, then you can pick the Bachelor of Science Technology, and a number of the majors also are delivered in that Bachelor of Science Technology format. And then you would have 10 weeks of work experience, which again is normally paid. Okay, just to talk about scholarships. So you can see the scholarships listed on this page. The first one is the GEMS scholarship, and this is specifically for GEMS students. We have 3 scholarships per year for GEMS students, and they are 10,000 New Zealand dollars, and that would be taken off the first year of your tuition fees. The next intake is July, and so the closing date for this scholarship is the 15th of May. You need to apply for it, and if you're interested, you can speak to your advisor at GEMS, and they can send you an application form. As I say, if you are successful, if you're one of the 3 successful people, then you'll get the 10,000 New Zealand dollars tuition fee reduction. If you would like to apply for other scholarships, of course you can, but you would only be eligible for 1 scholarship. We don't give multiple scholarships per student. Another option is the International Excellence Scholarship, again up to $10,000 tuition fee reduction. That also has an application process. And so, of course, you could apply for both the GEMS scholarship and the International Excellence Scholarship and see how you get on, but you would only be able to do 1. If you study at our Tonga Campus, then you would be eligible for an automatic $10,000 tuition fee reduction. That's the case at the moment, although of course that may change in the future weeks and months to come. And if you are studying a bachelor's degree and you achieve B+ average in the first year, then you would be eligible for a further $5,000 tuition fee discount in the second year. So you just need to progress with the B+ average in your first year studies to automatically get the high achievement scholarship. Okay. Just a little bit of information about COVID-19 and how that's affecting study overseas. Now, I know that probably a lot of you have been thinking about this, and if you are planning to study at university this year, there'll be a lot to think about and a lot of different policies, and obviously things will be changing quite quickly. At the moment, New Zealand's borders are closed to nearly everybody, certainly to international students. And we are going to start our July intake online. So that means that if you do come and study with us from July, you would start your studies online. So you would stay where you are, and we would give you all of the materials to start online. Now, as soon as New Zealand's borders are open again, we would allow you then to come to New Zealand and to continue your studies face to face. So obviously, we want students to study face to face if possible and have that option. So you know, it will be quite easy to do that. Obviously, visas permitting as soon as the borders open. There will also be a discount, a fee reduction for the portion of your study that you undertake online. At the moment, we expect that to be 20%. It's not confirmed yet, but it's likely that all of the modules or papers that you take online will have that 20% fee reduction. For your entry requirements, if you have provisional certificates or calculated grades, we will accept those. Of course, when you come to New Zealand and continue your studies, if you have a provisional certificate originally, then you need to get your official certificate, which you should be able to do by the time you come to New Zealand. If you need to take an English test online, then we accept a range of online English tests. So the internet-based TOEFL, the Cambridge test, and so on. And again, if you have questions about that, I can send you more information. And we still have scholarships available for all of our intakes. If you are taking an IELTS test, for example, if you have an IELTS certificate, for our bachelor's degrees, we need IELTS of 6 and no less than 5.5 in all of the components. Okay, so that's everything I wanted to talk about today. Obviously, I can talk a lot more about the university and answer any questions you have. For now, though, let's, if people do have questions from what I've said today, then I'll open up the chat and we can have a look. And please feel free to type any questions into the chat box, and I'll do my best to answer. The first one here, someone's asked about medical field. Unfortunately, the University of Waikato doesn't teach medicine or pharmacy or dentistry. So no, we don't have any medical programs. The only programs we have are health related, which are health, community health, and sports related. And actually that leads on quite nicely to the next question about sports science degrees. So we have the Bachelor of Health, Sport and Human Performance, and there are different streams to that, but that's suitable if you are interested in sports coaching and conditioning and so on, and if you're interested in that sort of performance side. So if you're interested in looking at how athletes perform and how to get athletes to perform to the best of their abilities, and also the sort of coaching skills you need there as well, then the Bachelor of Health, Sport and Human Performance may be of interest to you. I'm just going to see if I can send you the link to that. While I'm finding this, if there are any more questions. So yes, so Salil, you've asked about the about interior design. No, unfortunately, we don't offer interior design. We have a Bachelor of Design, but that's more about computer graphic design rather than interior design. Interior design falls under more of a fashion area, and we don't offer any fashion related programs, I'm afraid. So the other question here, the next question in fact, comes from Navneeth, and it says, does the University of Waikato provide courses in economics? So the Bachelor of Business that I showed you in the presentation, that has a major in economics. So yes, absolutely, you can study the Bachelor of Business majoring in economics. And I mentioned that we're one of the top 1% of management schools worldwide, only 90 universities having that Triple Crown accreditation, with the 3 most important business bodies in the world. So yeah, absolutely, economics, Bachelor of Business, Waikato is a great place to study any management program. Lucy, you've asked about nutrition. Yes, there will be nutrition included as part of the Bachelor of Health, Sport and Human Performance. What I'm going to try and do is send you a separate message, maybe when we've finished with the details of that program, and just a link to the page, so you can have a look at the different areas of study and see if it's something you're interested in. Megan, you're asking about sports management. Not exactly, no, we don't offer a sports management program. We have a range of different management programs, and we have a few different sports programs, but we don't offer specifically sports management. With our degrees, what you can do is you can you'd have your major. So, for example, if you were studying health, sport, and human performance, you would major in that, and then you would have some elective papers that you'd be able to take. So you could take some elective papers in management and then study the health, sport and human performance alongside that and combine the two. You could also even take a double major, so you can take sort of study in both areas, sort of half and half in that way. Okay, what would be the eligibility requirements for students studying in the CBSE board? Okay, I'm going to need a little bit more information about what the CBSE board is, and then hopefully I'll be able to tell you. So if you could tell me exactly what the CBSE board is, I'll try and give you the entry requirement. Okay, while I'm doing that, are there any more questions? Okay, right. As I say, I'm just going to try and find the link to the sports science program, but thank you very much for attending, everybody. Oh, just see one more question come up here about accommodation. Yes, now accommodation isn't something I have talked about too much. And yes, absolutely, we have 4 different accommodation buildings on our campus for students. Some are catered, that means all food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner is provided, and some are self-catered, so that means you would cook your own food. You would normally share a flat or a sort of an apartment, but you would have your own private bedroom, and normally you would share a bathroom. So there may be 4 or 6 people to an apartment, each with their private bedroom, and then share bathrooms. Here is the link to health, sport, and human performance, if anyone is interested in having a look at that. But yeah, okay, great. Well, as I say, if you have any further questions, then feel free to contact me. I'll put my email address in the chat box as well. And as I say, I hope to see you in New Zealand at some point soon. Let me know if there's anything else that you'd like to know.